Well, the easiest prediction over the weekend was that this game was going to be really good, and that was the Seahawks beating the Rams 31-27. I mean, I've actually just looked at the stats again. It is actually so hilarious how their like key guys had similar stats. I mean, Stafford 22 for 35, 374 free touchdowns. Darnold's 25 for 36, 346 free touchdowns, very close. Leading receiver, Nakua, 9 receptions for 165, and Jigbert 10 receptions for 153. Like it's so. I mean, this game we joked about it. This was the Super Bowl, like for a lot of people. Like this was a really exciting game, and it just goes to show that like the NFC, I feel like really took a dip a couple of years ago and became dull and boring and no like star power. And AFC was really overpowered with the quarterback, with the wide receivers, with the running backs, etc., etc. Now, man, I could watch that game every day of the week. I could watch these two go at each other every day of the week, and you'd get different outcome every game. It's so fun. The Rams are here to stay for a very long time, and I think, frankly, Seattle are as well.
Yeah, I think Seattle definitely are. Have you seen how much cap space they've got for next year?
Easy,
Insane.
cheap, young defense, man.
And the Rams as well, actually, have got a decent amount of cap space as well, both of them. It was a great game and kind of saved the championship day as a whole day, given how awful the first one was. I mean, they both played really well. I mean, to see Stafford do what he did and still end up on the losing side, I think it is quite surprising, really. But you have to hand it to not only the Seahawks as a whole organization, but the one person that we all questioned and everyone kind of did was Sam Darnold. And what was nice to see was the Seahawks won it because of Sam Darnold, rather than it just being that the defense was really good or the special teams had amazing plays. It was like Darnold actually went out and won it. And I mean, he had like you said, 3 touchdowns, 346 yards, QBR rating of 138.
I've actually got something hilarious actually about this. Since he's left Carolina, he is like he might broke a record or something like that. He has the longest run of 100+ passer rating games. Like he's not had one below since he left Carolina. Like that's nuts. Like that is nuts. Also, I think it's that. I might be exaggerating a little bit, but I'm pretty sure that's what they were saying on a podcast I was listening to earlier. Was since he left Carolina, he's not dipped under 100 in his QBR. Which it just goes to testament, doesn't it? That he did win this game. And there was nothing in this podcast which I don't think fans won't maybe necessarily notice. Sometimes you do. He got sacked a few times. He got sacked 3 times. But it was a take the sack, don't lose the ball.
Yeah.
And that's smart quarterback play. That's smart. It don't look great. And it don't look great on the stat sheet, but it was better than getting a turnover. It was better than losing the ball. And yes, you could lose the ball on the sack, but they knew that they couldn't gift the Rams anything. And the Rams did one gift. And I mean, the only gift they gave was a flag, the Tariq Woolen one. That was a gift because then Nakua scored a touchdown straight off of that. And then obviously the punt return got messed up. Seattle scores on that. The one thing I will go back to, just because you said about Matt Stafford playing this well and losing, Sky, does it bring back to the point of he's not done? I mean, he can't, like, they've got to the NFC Championship. They've got loads of cap room, like Adam said. Their defense is only going to get better. They only need to really, I think, sort out the cornerback secondary sort of bit. Their offense is really good. That's going to stick around. Devontae Adams is going to stick there as long as Matt Stafford's there in my book. And they want him in the building. I think they love him there. Nakua's not going anywhere. They've got his great running back. Why would at this point you retire?
Yeah, I'm torn because I think we all 3 of us collectively like the Rams, Stafford, McVay, but I think we've seen this over the years. Like they've had 2 what if years now. They were close last year as well. And as much as I like Matt Stafford, like Devontae Adams obviously banged up towards the end of the year. They will be a year older. There are no guarantees. I think this is a big what if. I don't know how hard I want to go on this because I think Sam Darnold does deserve credit. but I do think the Rams beat themselves a lot with that Xavier Smith, obviously the muff pun. I think the play calling to be looking at like Mumfield in the key downs. I think the Rams just overthought it. I'm not saying Seattle are not good. Their defense is obviously insane. The speed they have in all
Do you think they're
areas.
trying to be a bit too cute in a way?
I think McVay almost like overthought, and obviously a lot of that comes down to the talent on the Seattle defensive side of the ball. That leads to you sometimes overthinking things. But yeah, like the window is open. It's just that I think, considering how unpredictable this season's been and how you guys said how the NFC's turned it around, I just think with the Rams, they'll be in contention. But I think they've had their 2-year window now to potentially win another Super Bowl. I think they can still be a playoff team. I'm just think that there's other teams in stronger positions who will probably still be around to stop them getting there. And look, we can praise Sam Darnold as much as we want, right? We talk about narratives in the media. If you're the Rams, I think you'd be annoyed that you had a chance to make the Super Bowl going against Sam Darnold. However nice we want to be about it, like there's a lot of better or more complete quarterbacks they could have played in this game.
But really, in the lead up to this,
Do you not think though that the Rams did everything right in order to put it on Sam Darnold? Like, is that not kind of like their game plan was that Sam Darnold they stopped the run, which meant that Darnold had to pass. That they didn't. That was the option, wasn't it? Surely that was how you. Because Walker started off well in the first couple of drives, but then he fell off a cliff and the run just sort of disappeared. So it's almost like they forced Darnold to be that good to a certain extent.
I think their pass rush was poor though. Like we spoke last week about how the secondary could be exposed if he got time. I think we saw that basically after the first quarter, at least in the second half. Like you guys have said, if Sam Darnold's putting up, over 300 yards, he clearly had time. They might have got the odd sack here and there. Fred's point is probably the most truest in that at least he didn't force anything. I think he knew, well, I've had time on plenty of other plays. I'll take the hit here because I can do it there. And what I'm getting at is the Rams pass rush wasn't consistent of an elite level defense that's going to get you to a Super Bowl, because as much as the conditions might have been bad, Pats and Denver's defense still put up a lot of pressure in the pass rush, and Seattle did it as well. They managed to put pressure on Stafford, I think, consistently compared to what LA did.
But when you say about other quarterbacks in the NFC, I mean, God, it feels like an age ago now since they all came through, and I'm going to have to remember them all. But there's no one better than Stafford. Darnold has proved himself to be better than Stafford. But when all the teams in the NFC went in there, Stafford's number one. Who holds a light to him? Jalen Hurts doesn't. Who else has been in the NFC? Who else?
Jared Goff. I'd still take Jared Goff over Darnold.
Jared Goff. Okay.
Baker.
Jordan
I know
Love,
he dropped
Baker.
towards the end.
Jordan Love. Detroit didn't get to the playoffs, bear in mind.
No. I know they beat them. They beat up a banged up Niners team. I'd still rather Brock Purdy than Sam Darnold. And we'll see what happens in the Super Bowl.
I was more getting back to your point of Stafford, like when he's looking around now, like teams that are coming after him, sort of thing. I'd still say
you think
he's at the top of the pile.
I think that I think Hurts, if they, depend on the play calling, Goff, the Buccaneers, again, the 49ers, especially, I know it wasn't my intentional point, but actually, if they're healthy and the Niners are healthy, consider what they did this year and the fact that they're in the same division. They're in a division with two elite teams. And I think, given that, let's just say everything I've said about Darnold's wrong and he actually can consistently do this, I think Seattle and the Niners are in a younger, better place, like you guys have said, with the cap compared to what the Rams can do. I hope I'm wrong. I love Matt Stafford. To see what he went through in Detroit for years and to get a Super Bowl, as if I was looking at it neutrally, it would have been great for him to win another ring and then sort of like go off into the sunset. So let's hope that's still possible. But yeah, I guess with the Rams, we've seen them do well draft-wise without many picks. So I guess if there's any front office that's going to do something with, whether they decide to make trades or limited resources, I think McVay and that front office can do something.
I know we said we're going to probably do an episode and dive more into this later on, in the next month or so. But how crucial is it for McVay to keep both his coordinators there? And now with only 3 head coach jobs open, how crucial is that for him? Because Chris Schuler's his defensive coordinator. Who's his offensive coordinator? I can't remember now off the top of my head.
Mike LaFleur.
LaFleur, yeah.
Mike LaFleur. So how crucial is it for him, Adam, to keep them two? Because Chris Schuler's been rumored a lot. I mean, he was, in my mind, the front runner for the Steelers job until Mike McCarthy happened. But there's 3 jobs available. 3 not very, not incredibly sexy jobs with the Cardinals, the Raiders, and the Browns left.
I think if they can, I think it's important that they keep Chris Schuler there. I don't think it's as important to keep Mike LaFleur because obviously McVay calls the plays, doesn't he? So it's not quite as important. I actually think there's a strong chance that LaFleur goes, and there's a lot of talk about him going to Arizona. So I think that you might see him end up there. But yeah, if you can keep Chris Schuler, and to be honest, given who is left now, I actually think that it would make more sense for Chris Schuler to stay with the Rams for another season and try and just continue this sort of like I think the defense has been it's not been a top 5 defense, but I think it's been a pretty steady defense that's done very well. And a lot of them are young. So in theory, they're only going to get better because of that. So I think it would be vital for him to keep him. I don't think keeping LaFleur is as important though.
What about yourself, Sky? Do you think? Because Schuler now, when you look at them 3 jobs, I mean LaFleur, you could say could go to one of them 3, but I don't know. I don't know.
No.
Maybe just hold on.
I think you brought up a good point I didn't even think of, really. I mean, we talk about the Eagles and the fact that losing coordinators, what it can do to you. Given how well the Rams have done, maybe the window is fine for one more year if they can stay healthy because they don't need to replace on either side of the ball. But yeah, of Mike LaFleur and Chris Schuler, I wouldn't go to any of those teams. Like, I get that we said this last week and we're all in agreement, the aspiration for a lot of these guys is to be a NFL head coach. But when you're in a spot like, the Rams where you're at least learning from McVay, it's LA, it's nice, maybe wait a year. I mean, Chris Schuler as well, of course, he's done great in his own name, but let's not forget, about his dad's. That holds weight as well, to have that sort of like heritage of NFL, DNA. So he'll be fine if he just sits for a year.
Do we think the NFC West is going to be the top division next year again?
NFC North could be obviously is close.
I think the NFC North.
I think the West will keep it for another year.
You think between all 3 of these teams will bounce back and be just as good next season?
I think if you think about it, out of the 3, I mean, obviously forgetting the Cardinals, out of the 3 other teams in the NFC West, I think the 49ers have a chance of maybe dropping off a little bit because they are a little bit older. But I don't see the Rams or the Seahawks moving for another year. I just don't. I don't see. I mean, obviously, look, this is all going to be dependent on whether or not Stafford stays, isn't it? But if he stays, then I don't see how they fall off. With the North, I'm not 100% sure what's going on in Detroit at the moment. The coordinators are a little bit. That's not a good move. He's brought in Drew Petzing to be the offensive coordinator from the Cardinals. That's not a great move for them. The Vikings, you're still relying on McCarthy to progress, and it kind of felt like even at the end, he had a little bit, but not a lot. The Packers have got some big players that ended up going out injured. Are they going to come back the same? So there's a few more question marks. I think the Bears will be fine, but the rest of them, I think there are a few question marks on it. So yeah, I think the West will probably still be the best in the NFC.
I said the North simply just because we've all spoke highly of all the head coaches there.
Yeah.
In their own ways. So I think if there's any division, it's going to be that. And I mean, we know on the AFC side, it's not going to happen unless the West turn it around. I mean, that's probably the only one in the AFC where if you were looking at it collectively over both conferences, where you might say that could be a division with 3 teams who made the playoffs, depending on how things go in the off season.